Heathlands at home. It's Helen here and I have another recipe for you today. Today we're looking at something that looks a little bit more complicated, and what we're making is a microwave vegetable curry. And it's the microwaving that makes this easy. It looks like it's going to be really complicated because there's so many things out here, but it is, trust me, it's really easy. So the reason we're making this recipe is because Diwali is coming up. Now Diwali is a Hindu festival, and it's the Hindu festival of light. So it's about good versus evil, it's about knowledge versus ignorance. It's basically just about the light winning over the darkness, and it's always celebrated around the same time of year. It's based on the Hindu lunar calendar, so it's around the new moon, I believe, and the festival is celebrated for around 5 days. So I think this year it starts on the 12th and ends on the 16th. Now the unique thing, or the unusual thing about this Hindu festival is that usually in Hindu festivals, in Indian festivals, a lot of people fast. In Diwali, people celebrate with food. They quite often give out very sweet treats, and they have parties and feasts and gatherings together. So that's why I thought I would do this vegetable microwave curry for you. Now the recipe, I've actually got it in a book here. Now this book, my sister Catherine had made for me, and I don't know if you can read that on the front, it's not very clear. It says Helen's Family Cookbook, and this recipe book has recipes from all my family and friends going back for 3 or 4 generations. So there's recipes in here from people who are no longer with us, which is rather beautiful, and I can't wait to pass this on to Eva. So this is my mum's vegetable curry recipe, and there's my mum for you. And this is what we're going to be using today. So I'll go through what we've got. As I say, you don't have to use everything that I have here. You can use what's in your fridge or what you prefer. So things like broccoli and cauliflower work really well. I also have sweet potato, but you could use normal potato. I've got carrots, tomatoes. You could use big tomatoes as well. I've got baby peppers, but you could use big peppers. I've got baby corn, and that's basically just because Mark loves corn so much. I've got mushrooms, a chilli here. Now you don't have to add in the chilli if you don't want your curry to be spicy. I have root ginger, but you could use powdered ginger if you prefer. I have garlic. I have an aubergine because I absolutely love aubergines, but you could replace it with courgette, or you could just leave it out if you don't like those kind of things. And the last vegetable for the very end is I have some spinach to put in. Now again, spinach is one of Mark's favourite things, and I just think it adds another depth to it. So our wet ingredients, we've got a stock cube here, so we'll be adding some vegetable stock. I also have some passata. Now you could use chopped canned tomatoes instead, you don't have to use the passata. I also have some tomato paste, which will help thicken it, and we'll probably add some plain flour into the sauce as well to help thicken it up too. Now I'm going to move on to all of these spices. I love making a curry from scratch, but that's just me. So what I brought to show you is you can just use something like this. This is a tikka curry powder, so this is a mild powder. I use this to make a curry for Eva because she doesn't like things too hot. So you could just put a couple of big tablespoons of curry powder in, or a couple of tablespoons of curry paste if you have that in the fridge at home as well. Now the spices I'm using today is, I've got turmeric, ground coriander, ground cumin, I've got some caraway, some cinnamon, I've got some cardamom pods. Now these are fantastic, they add a really good deep flavour to your curry, but you don't want to chew on them. So if you do include cardamom pods, do warn people who are going to eat the curry, because if they bite into these, they're going to get a very aniseedy, strong flavour from the pod. I also have some fenugreek seeds, which I think is fantastic. Now, the last ingredient I have here this has got a funny name. It's called asafoetida. And asafoetida, it basically, the word comes from fetid, and I don't know if you know that word, but it kind of means it smells funny. And if I smell this, yeah, it's kind of got, it's not the most kind of appealing smell in the world when it's in powder form. But as soon as you put this into hot oil, it makes your house smell like an Indian takeaway. It's amazing. Now, I discovered this when I was learning how to make Indian green chilli pickle. And when Mark came home from work when I was making this, he thought it was absolutely amazing, the smell in the house. But when he smelt the powder, he thought it was disgusting. So this you can get from Saja's shop in, over near Greystone Road. She's got HDM Spice, which is a beautiful little shop if you've never been to it. And I'd highly recommend it for your herbs and spices. So that's asafoetida. I think the other name for it is hing. I'll double check and I'll put that in our ingredients list at the start of the video. So that's all our herbs and spices. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to clear down. I'm going to prep all of our veg and put them into little bowls. And I'm going to sort our herbs and spices for frying off before it goes into our curry. Let's get started. So that was a speeded up video of me chopping all of my beautiful vegetables and onions and garlic and ginger and things. Now, you can chop it however you like. I kind of like to leave the cauliflower and broccoli and the aubergine quite big. The aubergine will probably reduce down quite a bit. The sweet potato I leave quite chunky as well. But, I mean, you can chop it however you prefer. What we're going to do now is the spices that need to be cooked off. I said fried in the introduction. I actually mean toasted, so we put them in a dry frying pan and just gently heat them up to start releasing all the flavours. And then what we're going to do is use a pestle and mortar to grind them up to go into our sauce. So we're going to do that next. Okay, so over here I've brought my fenugreek, my caraway and my cardamom pods. And what I'm going to do is I've turned the heat onto this hob, onto a dry frying pan, and I'm going to add a teaspoon of caraway, add a teaspoon of fenugreek, and I think going to add 3 cardamom pods. Now the thing about the cardamom pods is we're going to take those out before we grind the spices in our pestle and mortar, because we want to kind of start releasing the flavours, but we don't want to break those down for people to get like little bits in their mouth. So we're going to gently let those start to heat up, and I'll come back when it starts making some noise to let you see what you're looking for. So what I've done is I've zoomed in the camera so you can see the spices that are in the pan. The heat is starting to make them move and pop a little, and they've started to change colour, so they've started to go this much deeper golden kind of orangey brown. So that means that my spices are ready. So I'm going to take those off the heat straight away and take them over to the pestle and mortar. So we've got our beautiful spices that we've toasted on the hob, and all I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the cardamom and place that to one side. Now this can be a little warm, so if you need someone to help you, do please ask. And I'm going to tip my caraway seeds and my fenugreek into my pestle and mortar, and what I'm going to do is give them a really hard grind. Now I hope you can see inside there. Now, this is quite a bit of spices, so if you're only making for a couple of people, you could maybe put some in a jar and save some for later. What I'll do is I'll probably measure out a teaspoon of the mixture to go into our microwave curry. So it doesn't quite make a smooth powder, but it does break it down an awful lot. And hopefully, if I tip this up a bit, you can see we've got this lovely spice mix in our pestle and mortar bowl. So we've now moved over to the microwave, and everything we do from now on will be in here. So what we're going to do to start with, now that we've got all of our vegetables and our spices and everything ready, is we're going to put a little bit of oil in the bottom of our microwave proof dish. So I've got a Pyrex dish here. I think this one's a 3 litre casserole Pyrex dish, and into there we're going to put our chopped onions, our fresh garlic and our fresh root ginger. So everything goes in. We put the lid on, move these out the way, and this is going to go into our microwave, and we're going to use the high automatic setting, and we're going to put it on for 3 minutes. So my microwave goes up in 30-second increments, so I'll need to press the button 6 times. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that's 3 minutes on the clock for our onions, our garlic and our ginger to start cooking. Now I'm not going to video the whole 3 minutes, so we'll be back very soon. So that's the first 3 minutes for our onions and our garlic and our ginger. Now hopefully you can see when I lift the lid off, it's already started to get really good and hot and start steaming. So the recipe now says that we need to add all of our spices. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add half a teaspoon of salt, in fact a quarter of a teaspoon of salt, because we're going to put stock in as well, so I don't want to over salt this. So that's our salt. I want 1/4 of a teaspoon of cinnamon. So we're going to put that all over our onions. Now, probably want at least 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. This is a new packet. I'll get rid of the rubbish. In fact, I think I'm going to put a full teaspoon of cumin in, because that's a really classic kind of curry flavour for this. Oops. And then I want 1/2 teaspoon of turmeric. This will give it the curry a lovely golden colour, and it's really good for you. And then I want 1/2 teaspoon of ground coriander. Now you could put fresh coriander in at the end, that would be absolutely beautiful. And I'm going to use 1/4 teaspoon of the asafoetida because it really is quite strong. What we're going to do is we're going to stir that up with a spoon. And we're also going to add a tablespoon of plain flour. So just flour that you would use for making a cake, not self-raising, just plain flour. I'm going to sprinkle that in, so that's a tablespoon, and this will help thicken our sauce. I'm going to mix that all up. And I'll give you guys a look at that so you can see. It already smells absolutely beautiful. So we're going to put the lid back on, and we're going to put this back in the microwave. We're going to cook it on high for a further 2 minutes. So I need to press it 4 times. Okay, that's the further 2 minutes finished on the onions and the spices we already put in. Now I'm going to take this out. I'm using oven gloves now because the Pyrex is starting to get warm. And there should be a bit of moisture come off the lid, so just be careful of that. Now, I'm going to add in a bit of black pepper. As I say, you can do this to taste. And I'm going to add in a teaspoon of our lovely toasted spice mix and the cardamom pods. Isn't quite a teaspoon there. There we go. Move that to one side. Now that we've got all of the herbs and spices in there, I'm going to start adding the kind of chunkier, harder vegetables. So I've got my carrots and my sweet potatoes here. I'm also going to add my baby corn now. I'm going to microwave this on high for 10 minutes, and then we're going to start adding all of our other ingredients and our wet ingredients as well. Okay, so we're back. The 10 minutes is about to be done, and we're going to take the curry out of the microwave and we're going to add our next ingredients. So remember to use your oven gloves again. Be very careful taking this out the microwave. Just close that up. And again, just watch for any drips. So what we're going to add now is our next vegetables, which are kind of hard but not as hard as the carrots and things. So we're going to add our broccoli in. We're going to add our cauliflower. You can see the casserole dish is going to start getting quite full now. We're going to add our peppers and our chilli. And the other thing we're going to add now is we're going to add our wet ingredients. So I've got passata, like I say, but you could use a can of chopped tomatoes. So I'm going to use about half of this. This is a 500-gram bottle, carton. So I'm going to add probably about half. So what you don't want to make is it too tomatoey. You don't want it to be like a pasta sauce. I'm going to add a good squeeze of tomato puree because that will add a depth of flavour and it will also help to thicken it. So a good squeeze like that. And then I've made up some vegetable stock. I've got about 300 ml here. Now if we discover that we need to add more liquid after we've done the next bit of cooking, we can just add some more boiling water. So as I say, I've got 300 ml of vegetable stock. So that all goes in. And now what we need to do very carefully is to mix everything together. So you just want to get everything combined. We don't want to spill anything out the sides if we can possibly avoid it. So that looks like it's all incorporated. So what I'll do is I'll lift this up to let you guys have a look. So that's where we're at with our vegetable curry. We're going to pop the lid back on and it's going to go back into the microwave for another 10 minutes. This time though, we're going to put it on a medium heat. So, on your microwave, there should be a button that allows you to select the power that you're wanting to use. So mine's the one at the top that says microwave. So it's in percentage. So as a medium heat, you want about 50% of your power. So I've got it on P50 and then I need to turn the timer, P50, and then hopefully I should be able to press start, microwave, 50. So how do I get it? Right, so I've confirmed the temperature and now I'm adding my time with the knob at the bottom. So I'm taking it up to 10 minutes and then we'll press start again. So we are back with our final step on our microwave vegetable curry that we're making to celebrate Diwali. We're just waiting for the microwave to finish and we've got our final ingredients. So these are our softest ingredients that we're adding that don't take as much cooking. So that's it done. Again, remember you need your oven gloves because this casserole dish rather, is going to be very hot. I'm going to lift this out, close up. Oh, it smells fabulous. I wish we had smell-o-vision, guys. So, these should all be starting to tenderise. Excellent. And we're going to add in our final vegetables. This is where the pot gets very, very full. So you do need to be careful when you're mixing this up. Now, this to me looks like it needs a tiny bit more liquid. The thing is, there will be some liquid come out of the mushrooms and the aubergines. But it is looking a tiny bit dry for my liking, so I think I'm going to add another 100 ml of water before we add it back to the microwave. Just get everything combined, trying to be careful not to spill anything out the sides. So I'm just going to grab the water, should have had that prepared. So, like I say, I'm not going to fill it up. I'm adding 100 to 150 mils. So maybe an inch off the top. And now, very carefully, I'm going to add a couple of big handfuls of spinach. Now this is the tricky one to get combined. So I kind of force it down between the other vegetables. I want to get at least 2 big handfuls in there. You can kind of lift and make space. Very carefully try and get everything incorporated. Okay, so, escaping mushroom. I'm going to put the lid back on, and this is going to go in for a further 10 minutes on the medium heat again, and then we're going to test all our vegetables to see if they're cooked. Okay, so we pressed microwave, we turned the knob to 50, and then we pressed the confirm button at the bottom, and then we added our time. So we're adding a further 10 minutes, and then we're going to test everything. And press start. So that's our vegetable curry. Had another 10 minutes in the microwave on medium. It's about to come out, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a good stir up, and I'm going to just have a feel with my spoon how soft the vegetables are. Because if it needs to have longer, we can just put it back in the microwave to have some more cooking time. So the thing is, everybody's microwave is different. Some are more powerful than others. So, take the lid off and get our spoon. I'm going to give this a good stir up so I can see my sweet potatoes are definitely soft. Now I don't like my cauliflower to go squidgy. I don't like it falling to bits. I think, I just have a quick feel. I think it probably needs another 5 minutes on medium for my microwave that I'm using. But as I say, you need to use your microwave and test your vegetables for what works for you. So we're just going to pop it back in for a further 5 minutes. Ooh, I think my base plate's come off. There we go. So again, we're going to select our power at 50%. I'm going to confirm that power, and now we're going to add 5 minutes just to finish it off. Okay, so we're back after the further 5 minutes of cooking time that we've added to our curry, and we're about to take it out. So, as you can see, that's steaming beautifully. Just going to get my spoon and have a quick test. Yeah, everything is much softer. It looks much more kind of pulled together. The sauce is lovely. I think that is done. So I'm going to pick this up to give you guys a closer look of it in the bowl, in the casserole dish. And what we'll do is we'll serve this up with some rice or some naan bread. I haven't decided yet. And I'll add a photograph of the finished curry at the end of the video. I hope you like it, and we'll see you again soon. Bye guys.